Hello my crafty friends, Corrine here from Corrine Crafts. I hope you are well. I hope you've been enjoying all of the tutorials. Have you started my September colour challenge? I hope you have. Now today's card is a little bit different as per usual. It is all about, look at that dimension, it's the flowers, it's the stenciling, it's the embossing. It all started inspired by a nice new to me embossing folder. Even though I can't see much of it, I've still loved creating this. I'm going to show you now how to make this because I think this is absolutely stunning. I hope you enjoy it too, and I'm going to show you how it's made now. I don't know about you, but every time I start a new project, I have to find a starting point or an inspiration. And my inspiration for today's project was this embossing folder. I forgot what it was called then. Embossing folder. Now, a lovely friend of mine, Gaz, he sent me this yesterday. And so, of course, I've made a project with it today. I just absolutely love it. It's from SIzzex, so I don't know how old it is. Gaz had some spare ones and he sent me this. So thank you. But yeah, I love this. I love the music on it. I love the script and I love the flowers. So that is where I was starting from. So I looked at all this and I thought, yeah, I can go with that. So you can see it's a regular 2D embossing folder. It is A2 in size. So no, it's not A2 in size. That's bigger. I don't know why it's called A2. No, it is A6. There we go. I was going the wrong way. So I've started with a piece of card and I've measured this 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So it's smaller than my embossing folder, but that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to put it in there. I love this because you can then pick where you want it to be. 2D embossing folder. So all we're going to do is take our 2 cutting plates and that'll be enough. Let me put this through the machine. I'll bring it right back. I've had a right pickle with this today. I didn't follow the rules and I decided to do a different folder. That's my embossing, my plates on the floor. I decided to do a different embossing folder plate combination. Of course it didn't work because I didn't follow the rules. I got it sorted. Anyway, look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? I love embossing folders. I love the texture that you get. I'm being lazy. I'm just bringing in my mat now because I'm going to be using that shortly. So here is just a piece of card just to protect my surface. Now, I thought I would do a slightly different colour palette today. So I've got a couple of blues, or 3 blues in fact, and a yellow. That's going to be my inspirational colour palette. So I've got a blending brush and I'm just going to take my, which one should I do? Should I do my palest one? Let's do my middle one. Let's do my middle one because I think my palest one might be a bit too pale. Take my middle one and I'm just going to go round the edge with this. So I'm just going to do a little bit of blending around the edge. I'm not going to go all over, but I just want to add a little bit of interest. So all the way around, just blending that out just there. We're going to do a little bit more on this in a minute. But yeah, that would look lovely. Now, what you could do if you were using the colour in your project, if you had some gold, I could go across that with some gold gilding wax. That would look really nice. But I've not got gold in my project, so it would stand out. That's all I'm going to do to that. But it just makes bits stand out. Absolutely love it. So that's going to go on to my finished project. We're going to add a little bit of speckled ink, but I'm not going to do that for a minute. Because what I've got now is another piece of card. This is just, both of these are just regular multi-purpose card. It's about 300 GSM. I get all of mine from Lime Tree Crafts. Absolutely brilliant. They go to all the shows. So 5 by 6.5, and I'm going to put that down there. Now, you saw me, I did a whole video tutorial on this. This is the, what brand is that? My mind's gone blank. Ultra New. I wasn't anywhere close to that then. Ultra New tape. I just love this. I'm just going to go around the edges, or 3 edges of this with it. And I'm not measuring it. I just want to do approximate, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some blending on the edge, but I want a nice white border. Sometimes I like it to go off the edge, sometimes I just like a border. You can then draw in a faux border if you want, whatever. And it's also nice just to do it roughly. I've shown you a whole tutorial on this, and I'll see if I can put a link onto it, because it's a really good one and it doesn't seem to rip my card at all. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a stencil. I'm going to grab my palest blue, still the same dauber, it's absolutely fine, and I'm just going to blend a bit of this down here. So I'm going to do a few different stencils and a few different colours. Now, if you think about it, this is going to go on there, so I know that as long as I come down this far, I'll have gone behind there. So I'm just, you know, marking it out roughly. What I like to do is blend and then just use the ink to almost blend it away. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. Take that there, lift that off. And can you see how you got this full and then it blends away? I'm going to do a little bit more down this side. The only thing I think you have to watch is when you've got a narrow one like this, you've got that straight edge and you don't want that straight edge. You've just got to be careful that you don't end up with the straight edge on your project, because that's not what we want to see. I don't mind the straight edge there, but I didn't want this coming out. So there we go. So we can do that again. Just take it with the palest one and then blend whatever ink's on your brush or on the stencil out to give you that sort of shadow look. There we go. There we are. Look at that. Stunning, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. Okay, so I'm going to get another stencil. This is like a cowhide one. It's quite thin, so you could potentially just add a little bit of tape to stop it lifting, because I know it does. And I'm going to get my darkest blue to begin with. I'm going to take my darkest blue and I'm just going to come across the top with my darkest blue, and then I'm going to blend that down. So let's just, I only tap it so that I don't get swirly cloud marks on here, because I've taped it down. You can look, oh, look at the cowhide, lovely, isn't it? I know it's blue on blue, but it will work. I want it a little bit heavier sort of at the top, so it's almost coming down in colour. Let's put some lids on here before I get all muddled. So I'm going to lift that one off. That's just what I want. I love that cowhide. Then I'm going to get my yellow polka dots, and I'm just going to pop that on there. And again, if you want to, just put a piece of tape. Let's straighten that up. There we go. So I'm going to grab my yellow blending brush. Let's move some of this bit out of the way. Blue one's gone. We've finished with those. So I want my yellow blending brush. Let's bring that in, and my yellow ink. And I'm just going to do a couple of random yellow bits coming down one side. When I was testing this out, I put the yellow on first, but then I sort of lost the yellow under the blue. So I'm coming in now with the yellow second, or last rather, just to make sure I don't lose it. Let's bring that down. And again, just use that ink that's on the stencil just to blend out, nothing remembering. If ever you're unsure, that's going to come to here. So I know I've gone below the mark. You'll see what I mean by that. That's going to go at the bottom. So I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to end up with yellow stopping above. So there we go. So I can lift that up in case I'm not sure. Look at that. Actually, I think I might like a little bit more yellow. That was a good thing about having it taped down. Let's come a little bit of yellow up here. Let's go a little bit darker. Where I've got it dark, let's just darken it up a little bit more. There we go. Just a little bit. There we are. How about that? Doesn't that look pretty? Really, really pretty. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, so that it's got time to dry, is I'm going to bring in my paint station. Isn't that super mucky? But I don't care. It does the job. And I'm going to put this one in. And then I'm going to pop this one in as well. Just put that there. And then I'm just going to grab my craft mat. I'm going to put my craft mat down here. And on to there, I'm just going to grab a little bit of, I'll go with my darkest blue so that it works. Can you see? I've just put a little bit on there. I'll get it ready while I'm here. And I'm also going to lay down a little bit of yellow. So let's do the yellow first on this time. So sparkle brush, Wink Stella, Craft's Companion, there'll be lots of them around. So pop that in there. I don't want to squeeze the yellow back up into it. So I'm just going to create a yellow paint effectively, but a sparkle yellow. You could do this with water on a paintbrush, but I just love the effect of having the sparkle in there. Okay, so I need a cloth to wipe my brush. There we go. Doesn't do the pen any harm whatsoever. So then the blue, I'm just going to drop a couple of bits of sparkle in. I don't want too much, otherwise it'll dilute it, won't it? Pop that in. Wow, look at that pop. It's only in this tray to catch the bits, otherwise I find it just goes all over my desk. I'm still going to find it all over my desk. That's going to happen, but just catches it a little bit. There we go. I just love that effect. So let's just clean that brush. There you see, look, the brush comes lovely and clean. Okay, so what I've got now, get rid of that ink. I don't think I need that again. And I can just leave these to be drying. But what I'm actually going to do is very carefully put that one to one side there. And this one I'm just going to take off the tape, just so that I'm not leaving tape on any longer than need be. Just be careful, because if it's got ink on, you don't want to smudge it. There we go. And the final one, just down there. Can you see now how I've got that lovely border? I did think about maybe doing some texture paste on there. That would have also looked lovely. So let's leave that one to dry as well. And this is why I brought my craft mat in. So the next thing I need to do is a little bit of stamping. Okay, clean hands, starting fresh. I've got a piece of card. I've had these so long. Some Dreamees flowers. Again, they're stamps without the, you don't get dies with these, but a little bit of cutting. You can always you can always stamp and then die cut, sitting watching the TV, however you want to do it. So I'm going to do a few. I could do the foliage as well. So I can actually do all of those if I can get them on my rocker block. Yes, I can. I can do those all in one. Oh, there was a bit of ink on there. Let's turn it over. Okay, so Memento ink, because I'm going to be using my alcohol pens. So as it says on here, this is a water-based ink. We always talk about this. Water-based ink is the perfect one to be using with your alcohol pens, because as we know, opposites attract. So there's my white paper. I'm just going to take my stamp and I'm just going to rock it over there like that. And look at that. Doesn't that stamp perfectly? Absolutely brilliant. Let's bring in my piece of paper. So it's entirely up to you whether you cut and colour or colour and cut. I'm very much a cut and colour. So I sat and cut these out. You could use your scan and cut. I just need to with my scan and cut, I could just do with realigning it. So I decided not to. I decided to cut them out. And I've got 4 pens. Dull green. You've seen this a few times recently. Citrus blend. Now I've got True Blue Extender and True Blue Blend, because between that I get all of the colours. So if I look at the colours, what have I got here? I've got TB1, 4 and 8 and TB3, 5 and 7. So that gives me 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. So I've got a really lovely range of colours there. So I'm going to get my strongest yellow. So, the other thing I did is when I cut them out, cut to there, these bits overlap, but I like my petals to have a bit more movement than these stamps naturally did. So I've just cut right down to the centres. That's entirely up to you. Yellow. Now don't get too hung up about this. So I'm just going to come in. Look at this. Almost scribbling. Don't worry about it. We're going to be doing so much. That'll be perfect. Then I'm going to get True Blue 1. Now, I remember when I used to demonstrate these, And people have had the True Blue ones and they said that they didn't work. True Blue one is very, very pale. If you're doing like an opaque water, it's a brilliant one for that. There is ink there, and you can see this. It almost just looks like I have wet the card rather than coloured the card. But that's what I want, because I want the colours to almost fade away to nothing. So that'll be the best bet. So I'm just going round. I've done 4, 5, and the 6th one. You can see, oh, and I had done that one, but it's just, like I say, it fades away to virtually nothing. So what I'm going to do then is grab TB3, and I'm going to start from the middle, and I'm halfway up the yellow. I'm just going to flick, and I'm just going to use the point. Now, if you've got nibbed pens, you might want to use one with a firmer nib. It's entirely up to you. You're going to get a different look. I sort of want somewhere between a stroke and a blend. So that works for me. Then I'm going to go TB4. Just taking that up there. Over the yellow, so I'm almost creating a green in the middle. Goes yellow, green, blue. Just working that round. And then on there. Then I'm going to come back to this one and get TB5. I'm going to be quite light with TB5. As the pens get darker, I try to do the strokes shorter. Doesn't always work. Sometimes they get a bit longer than I thought. I just want the darker colours nearer to the centre. If at any point you're unsure, get your TB1 and we can just blend over those bits again. And it just picks up some of that colour and it blends it in. So it just looks perfect like that. Now you could be adding glitter or all sorts at this point, but we're just going to leave it like that. So there's my one flower. Let's do the other one. I can whiz through this. Okay, and the other thing you might want to do is when you've done that is you might want to go back in with the yellow and accentuate that green in the centre. I quite like that green in the centre. So if you want a bit more, you can always go in with your yellow after you've done your blue and got it like that. So there you go. So like I say, it's almost white on the edges, but not quite. Let's just get this one. So all I'm going to do with this is my palest dull green. So it's dull green 1. And I'm just going to literally colour in each of these petals. Again, this one is out of that Dreamees set. But I love it when we mix and match things like our foliage. And you're going to see that because what I'm going to do is I just went through my bit box and I grabbed some lovely green foliage that was left over from other projects. Oh, and some stamped ones left over from other projects as well. There we go. So look at that. So I've got large flowers and some foliage, and I've already done a couple. So I've got, oh, that's the mid-size, that's a small one. I've got, what have I got? I've got, they're small, medium, there we go. So I've got 2 large, 2 medium and 3 small. Looking good, but a little bit flat, aren't they? A little bit flat. So let's make them a little bit more interesting. So to do that, I need another foam. I could do it onto there, but as that's my colouring one, I really don't want to. So all I'm going to do, a couple of ball tools, get the largest one, and I'm just going to shape. I'm not going to go mad shape. I just want to add a bit of dimension, just because personally, I don't enjoy creating flat projects. So it just works for me. If you want to, you can always just add a little bit more around the edge. Just like that, then turn it over and then you can put them like this. Now you could build these up. For me they don't build up in this same way. I'll have a look. I'll have another go now that they're shaped. When they were flat, I didn't like how it looked. Perhaps they were designed to be a single layer flower. Yeah, it could, but I think I'm gonna get a better effect by doing lots of single layer flowers. personally. Okay, so let's just come round these ones all the way around the back, just adding a bit of shape all the way. And with all of them, I've cut down to that centre circle just because it meant I could shape better. If you don't cut that down, then you'll struggle to do the shaping in this way. They'll be definitely more designed for flat flowers. Okay, so I've got my shaped flowers. I've got plenty of foliage from that set. I've also got some foliage. That's from one of my old signature collections. That's just from some flowers. I don't know which of these I'm going to use. I found that one. That one's looking a bit, sorry, because it's come out of my bit box. I don't know if I'm going to use that because I've only got one of those and a couple more of those. So there are, oh, and I've got another one there. That's my foliage. So we're going to work with that and see where we go. So let's bring in my card. I just did a bit of work on the card base before we started. So I started with a card base and I didn't write on it. It is approximately, it's very approximately 5 3/4 by 7 1/4. 5 3/4 by 7 1/4, and that was my base. I've gone with a nice navy blue matte layer and then a white layer, and onto that we're going to add that gorgeous layer that we created. So let's stick that down. I think it's going to be easier to stick as we go. So that's going to go on here. Oh, let's get that one piece. So this is the Sticks 2 roll of foam. I think I'm going to have to get in touch and get some more of this. Oh, and my next project after this one is going to be all about Sticks 2. It's all about their Halloween challenge, and it's going to be a collab project with myself and the lovely Jan Brown. So if you want to see that, then tune in on Saturday morning or Saturday midday, and we're going to launch that. Right, now I have got a white layer under my white layer. Even though I've got that there, it's just how I wanted it to look. So isn't that absolutely gorgeous? I love how it just runs away with the project. And then onto there, I've just cut another small piece of the navy blue. So it's the same blue. Again, I've just given it a little bit of a border. But if we bring this one in, it's nice and dry now, you can see I've just got the perfect border around there. So we're just going to stick that down. Let's stick all those together. And then we can pop those on. Right, let's put a bit of glue on the back of here. Remember, when it's embossed like this, it does take a little bit more glue just because it disappears up into all of the embossed areas. Now, if I look at that, that's upside down. I need to put it that way because for me, I like the script to run. So when it goes onto my project, it's going to go that way around, and that's not centered. This is why I like to use a wet glue rather than a tape, because if I feel it's not right, I've got scope to move it. Don't get too hung up about that line because we're not actually going to see it. And that's going to go on here. So I'm actually going to put this one on flat, just because you'll see why in a minute. We're going to put use the flowers. And then that is going to go on there. So we've just got that nice little white border. Now, if you've got time, you could get something like your mat and put that with a weight on the top just to give it time to set. We haven't got time for that right now. That's not what you need to see. So let's just press that down. Oops. Make sure that's centered. That's moved over a little bit. There we go, right. There we are. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? All the different textures and everything. But it still looks a little bit fragmented. So I think we need to start trying to bring it together. Now, I don't know how full my glue gel is. I'll see where we go. Right, so let's start placing this roughly where we want it to be. The other thing I've got is I've created myself a sentiment. And I'm going to pop that around here. So I'm going to actually stick that down. Let's put that on around about here. There we go. I just put just a sticks to foam pad on the back there, quite a low one. And then we can start placing. So I'm going to put one just here. Oh, I like that going round that. And one just here. Might just adjust a little bit. This is why I place. Then we're going to go in with the next size. Let's come round just there. And then I'm going to take my smaller ones and we can then fill in a couple of the gaps. But basically, we're almost covering that centre. I don't like that. That looks better, doesn't it? That looks much better. Right, okay, so let's pop those on. You can put those on with wet glue, or I'm going to do it with, especially over that join, I'm going to put the 3D glue gel on. Let's get the, I've got a bit of a stopper in there. Pop that one on first. Now remember, at this point, there is no foliage on, so it's going to look a little bit disjointed, but we can sort that in a minute. Put that one on. And again, these flowers aren't finished. We just need to get them on to the card. Don't worry about coming off the card at the side or the other side. Just remember, don't come off the card at the bottom or it won't stand up. I know I go on about that. Make sure you shape them when you're putting them on the card. You want that dimension and that shape. And then we can bring this one in. And that's going to go just there. This one is going to come. It is all cut. I thought for a minute one bit wasn't cut. And then finally, did I want that one? Yeah, I was going to put that there to complete that arc. Okay, so like I say, it looks a little bit disjointed. So let's go with some foliage. Straight away it starts to make it look right, doesn't it? And then we can come up there. Let's use some of this foliage from the set because it was designed to go with that. Now again, this is another great reason why I love using 3D glue gel, because I've got plenty of time to be putting all of this foliage in long before it dries. Let's go. Oh, that one wants a bit more glue under there. Okay, it's not catching. If you're at all unsure, you can always just press down with your something like your ball tool, and then hopefully the petals will come up as you do that to shape. So let's go in with a little bit of this foliage. I just need to make sure that's stuck down. There we go. And I think I need a little accessory. So when I finish recording this, I'm going to have to go and grab an accessory on this. Something like a little butterfly or something. It's missing something, isn't it? Right, I'm going to stop there. That's enough foliage. What I'm then going to do is I've got some Nouveau drops. You could go clear. I've got yellow, and I'm just going to put some Nouveau drops in the centre of each one. Make it a decent size. If you haven't got Nouveau drops, you can just put a gem in. You can even make your own gems using your hot glue gun if you wanted to. Put a little hot glue gun bead in the centre, and then you can drop some glitter onto it. Looks beautiful. Looks like a jelly tot, if you know what a jelly tot is. Little sweet. There we go. I've had this warming up, but it's still taking a little bit to come out. It is a little bit old. And then what I thought I might do to bring that together. 1, 2, and a third one. Just like that. I'm not going to do any more. Right, I'm just going to go hunting for a butterfly. I shall be right back. Okay, so I have finished this card off. I've just done a few little additions. I have added in my white die cuts just here. I've added in some SIzzex. It was just looking a little bit too flat. I've had to sort of sneak it in underneath the flowers, being very careful because of the centres. I've created 2 butterflies. This one I've popped onto the flowers. And then this one I have popped up here. I've just added a few little tonic liquid pearls around, and that will do. Now, as I said, the inspiration for this project was my embossing folder, my new embossing folder that Gaz sent me. I can hardly see my embossing folder, but that doesn't matter. It was still my starting point, and I love it for the fact that that's where my original inspiration came from, and this whole project just sort of came out of that. I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry I just put these other little bits on off camera, but I was just sort of having a play around, and this is what happens when things evolve. But you've seen what we did. I built the flowers. All I've done, slipped the SIzzex in, slipped the die cuts in, and coloured the butterflies. The butterflies that are from the vintage butterfly. So there you go. Now, I hope you like that. A little bit different. I love the navy blue. I think navy blue is a lovely colour for a card. Yeah, and if you are inspired to have a go and maybe make your own project based on this, different embossing folders, different stencils, different colours even, and probably different flowers, then please do share them with me over on my Facebook page, because I would love to see them. Okay, so that's it for now. And as I said earlier in the video, don't forget my next project on Saturday is a collab with the wonderful Jan Brown, all about sticks too. So please do come back at midday on Saturday to see that collab. A little bit of fun, getting into the Halloween spirit. There we go. Okay, thanks for watching. There's all the links down at the bottom. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I can't wait to see you soon. Have a fantastic rest of the week and enjoy your weekend when it comes. Take care. Bye for now.